brave, edgy work to do, to be witnessed in self-pleasure. Like, I worked with a woman who was paralysed from the chest down, and she wanted to do somatic work and breath work, and I was like, okay. Yeah. And we had to find ways that supported her to start to connect to her body, even though she couldn't feel her body, and she had this huge extensive...
Did you manage to do it?
Yeah.
Go on, girl.
Yeah.
Hi, hello, how are you? And welcome to today's episode of the award-winning podcast, Crying in the DMs. I'm your host, Sara McCarthy, and I'm joined today by Lydia, somatic sexologist. And she's going to explain, first of all, what a somatic sexologist is for those of you who do not know.
So a somatic sexologist is basically somebody who helps people with any issues around intimacy and sexuality. So that can be with their own bodies, or that can be in relationship to another. I'm also a somatic psychotherapist, so I kind of like blend the two together.
Love that.
Yeah, and it's great work.
Oh, I can learn from this person. I get excited when I can learn from people.
Yeah, me too. But I also think what's really interesting is like linking it to, you know, the arcs of women's lives. So how sexuality changes throughout menopause, because that impacts the body, the nervous system, motherhood, you know, being postpartum. So within the work that I do, because I also am specialising to have a focus on the pelvis, it's like trauma, but also like just all of these transitions, like menstrual cycle, all of these transitions we go through as women that impact our sexuality and our relationship with our body, and then our nervous system.
I'm so blown away by it, because the pelvis and the sexual tension and all the rest of it that we pent up, that hasn't been my field of work. But it is something I've looked into. Yeah. And it's something I would love to know more about. I focus more on the brain. And when you focus on the brain, you tend to lose touch sometimes with the rest of the body. Now, don't get me wrong, the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, obviously I have to adjoin that with everything I do. But just tell me a little bit more about how you do believe trauma is kept in the pelvis.
I think it like massively impacts the pelvis on like many different levels. So like first off, pelvic health is so important, which I didn't know, to a woman's overall health and function within her body. So if there's a disconnection within the pelvis, which for a lot of women there is, you know, like when we say bring our awareness to our pelvis, it's either pain, because like our associations are either like pain if we struggle with like chronic tension, or, you know, painful periods. Maybe it's if we've had medical procedures, smears. Maybe some women are just like completely disconnected, numb. When you say bring your awareness to the pelvis, they're like, oh, I don't know what that means. So there's already this like layer of disconnection that women can have. And then when you bring trauma on top of that, it's like trauma can fragment, especially if it's a sexual violation, can fragment a woman's relationship with her pelvis. So you're talking like complete disconnection. So it just be in an unknown space. So there's no connection from the brain to the genitals. It's just completely void of that connection. So you have to build it back up. So, lack of sensitivity. So women can actually be numb and desensitized in that space, struggle to orgasm, pain during sex, pain just in general, chronic tension pain. So it impacts us on so many levels. And then just like the shame, you know, the guilt, if there's been a sexual trauma that we can feel. I know for me, after my experience, I couldn't orgasm for a year. Anytime I tried to orgasm, I'd just be angry, like the orgasm wouldn't come, and then I'd just be so angry, and then I'd just numb out again. A lot of women can also dissociate. So they leave their bodies when they're being intimate with themselves or intimate with another. So it has like a huge impact, because there's this like emotional violation when we experience trauma anyway. And then there's this actual physical violation within the body, within the vagina, or, you know, within the anus, the genitals, whatever it might be. Then there's like a secondary violation for the body, and it has a huge impact on the psyche, but also like somatically in the body and the pelvis.
So what are you doing to reduce that then?
So I've created a modality called the reverence method, which is quite unique because it's like a therapeutic modality. So training as a somatic sexologist or a sexological body worker, it means I'm in the realm of being a coach. But because I'm a therapist, what I'm doing is blending all of my skills together. So I will do a lot of work with women. I'm still quite new into this work, but I've been doing this work as a somatic psychotherapist for a long time, working with the pelvis, helping women heal trauma. And then this extra step is to do like the internal work and the somatic sexology work. So you can do like conscious masturbation work. You can do, which is going to be really supportive for any woman who doesn't know how to masturbate, has shame around masturbation.
It's surprising, isn't it? How many people do
So
feel
surprising.
ashamed and do have that pain around that.
Yeah.
I didn't realise, because I was very overly sexualised when I was younger. I went that way, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
How there is so much shame around it. Because I only hit shame when I was about 21, 22. And I was like, oh, now I'm sort of ashamed of this. Whereas beforehand, I thought it was dead cool. And I think, do you find that it's more in women or men? Because there's loads of men that they think it's really cool to masturbate. And then all of a sudden...
Yeah. I think with men, it's like, so I've trained to work with men, but in my practice, I work exclusively with women. So my practice is specialised around women and the female physiology. But for men, what I've seen is like they have a pattern on how to masturbate. So it's quite, this is what you learn. The problem with porn is huge.
I agree.
Men not really being able to like fully receive pleasure because we have these automatic patterns around how we touch ourselves. And I think for men, it's a lot. It's so ingrained. And porn is such a big thing for men. So like, even when you think about touch work for men, when you think about intimacy work with men, when you think about like really helping men like connect to, I'm going to say genitals, like I keep using this word because I'm in like the throes of training, but like teaching men to connect to the intimate spaces without just being like, I'm going to watch porn and then within 2 seconds I've come.
Yeah.
So like, this is also like really important work for men, you know, teaching men how to be present and intimate. Yeah. Also like if they've got, if there's female partners involved, like the female physiology is so different. Female pleasure is so different. Arousal is so different. It takes us longer to be aroused. We have more capacity to receive so much more pleasure within our bodies than what we know. So I think also like I'm really excited to bring couples work in at some point and teach men and women how to touch each other to get the most out of like presence, intimacy, pleasure, and like self-connection, because we're all so touch starved in this world as well.
Oh,
we're also starved of presence and intimacy. So I think with men, it's like, I think it's more subtle and maybe it's more quiet because men don't talk about it as much. But there is definitely issues and things that men struggle with when it comes to intimacy and sex, for sure.
I see it a lot in my work. There's a disparate difference between starving and putting yourself on a fast. So when you're starving, you feel it, don't you? You're actively starving. Whereas when you're fasting, there feels like there's a purpose to it. And sex has become so addictive for people and so easily accessible that when people don't have it and they can't get it, they act like they're starving and they just go for anything that's available. Whereas when you consciously pull it back, it's the same concept as starving, but now you're fasting. Do you know what I mean? So now you're actively not going to do it, and it feels like there's a purpose behind it. And as I was looking through the stuff that you were doing, talking about, you know, that conscious masturbation and all the rest of it, I thought, okay, she's teaching people that were previously starving to start fasting.
Yeah.
And that's effectively what it is, isn't it? Yeah. You know, to sort of go, you're not going to do it. We're not going to let you do it, right? But there's a purpose behind it. Yeah. You've got to hold that back because otherwise the floodgate's going to open.
Yeah. I think also like just we're taught that when we feel arousal, it's like I'm aroused and then I'll push it out or I'll project it out, like what you've just said.
Yeah.
And there's like a buffet available to us all the time. But it's really interesting, like doing self-pleasure practices has been one of the most radical things I've done, like especially after experiencing the sexual trauma, because for me, I had to like relearn, I'd never been taught, but like learn
who teaches you to wank?
Nobody at all. Like had to learn how to touch my own body, not just like intimately, but like my own skin. Like I had to just like create this new relationship with my body, and like so much came up in the process of that. So because it wasn't like, oh, I'm aroused and I'm just going to masturbate straight away, it's like when I was aroused and I was able, that like wave kind of subsided. Wow, like the grief that would be underneath that, or like the numbness that would be underneath that, or the fear that would, just all types of emotions that would come up. And it really allowed me to like meet myself in a new way. And part of the somatic sexology, you have to do like various different assignments. And I done this one recently and spoke about it on Instagram, to be witnessed in self-pleasure. And it was actually a man who witnessed me. So it was over Zoom.
What?
And yeah, so the intention is, as somatic sexologists, when we're working with people, let's say I'm working with a woman and she doesn't know how to masturbate, or she's got this one pattern that she does around masturbation, and this will be work that we'd lead up to. But one thing that I might introduce is masturbation, or like genital mapping, or like teaching her how to resensitize her tissues. So within some sessions, it could be an option, or it could be something that we bring in where she might start to masturbate, but what we're working with is the arousal pattern. So it's not me watching her masturbate. It's so I, in real time, can be like, okay, what are you noticing is happening? Because it's so subtle. A woman might leave her body, or she might start to tense up, or she might start to feel anxious. So it's helping me practice what it might be like when it comes in with a client. So anyway, he was witnessing me over Zoom, and he's just there like witness. He can't touch himself. He's just in presence. And after I'd done the exercise, and we shared both what came up. Wow, he was in like grief, shame.
So it was him touching himself?
No, it was me. So he's just the active witness.
Okay.
And it was my self-pleasure practice. So I'm in all of my emotions and feelings. It didn't even become about the arousal or the pleasure, just like so much richness underneath it. And then for him at the end, he shared what come up for him. And I was like, wow, once that peak of arousal subsided, the richness again in his experience of what came up for him. And it taught me like there's so much in the room when we're intimate with people. There's so much in the room when we're intimate with our own bodies. So it's like when we teach people to slow it down and resensitize their bodies and touch their bodies, which for someone who's experienced sexual trauma is fucking radical work to do. It's brave, edgy work to do. It's like the level of connection we can get with ourselves is just like profound. Gives us so much insight into how we relate with other people.
I feel really small-minded right now, but I have to say what's on my mind.
Yeah.
Because I think we're both intelligent enough to be able to have that conversation,
yeah, please
right?
do.
Is that not just wanking to a stranger?
Well, I've been training with these people for like 8 months.
Okay, so they're not strangers.
So they're not strangers.
Okay.
And also we're in a training where, you know, we've built up to this point. We started out with just like, you know, like building a lot of safety. So we've been on a training process together. And also part of when you train is, you know, when you're training in the space of sexuality or somatic sexology, it's like you do have to do some edgy assignments. So like, even for me, that's how when I set my camera up on the Saturday, I was
That's
like...
what I was in my head, I was thinking, you're putting that camera up, taking your pants off, getting into I'm assuming he has to see the vagina while you do
No.
it?
So you can do it however you want to do. So
Okay.
the camera was over here and I was just laying side on. So we couldn't actually, you know, the camera's not open.
Okay,
they can't see my legs. And there's a level of trust that we've built over the time we've been training together to really like step into these practices together. So yeah, it's interesting though, right? Because like that's all the stuff that comes up for people when we think about doing this work.
Well, that
and
is
it's like,
all I'm thinking is that still taking advantage of you? Is that taking advantage of you know what I mean? That's what's coming in my head because I'm thinking, okay, yes, you're going to get a certificate at the end of this. But to me, I don't want to masturbate in front of a person that's marking my masturbation. And then I'm thinking, no, you need to have this conversation with this lady because I don't want to be small-minded about practices like this, especially not if they're having real impact on people in a positive way. But my head right now is jammed at there is a person that I've known for 8 months that I am not intimate with in that way, that knows me on a professional level, per se, that I'm now having a wank in front of.
Yeah, but I think like we've done a lot of work to be able to get to this point and have
What is
been
the work?
doing. So we've been doing learning a lot about, you know, somatic sexology and sexuality, and then we have to do like assignments every week. So there'll be assignments that we've been doing on our own, and the point of the exercise is not like how is Lydia when she masturbates. The point of the exercise was what do we notice in our own bodies. We just do it, and then at the end we talk through it, and then the assignment is what do we both notice within our bodies.
Why does he have to be there?
Because you have to be witnessed.
Why?
So it didn't have to be him, it could be anybody.
Why do you have to be witnessed?
So then when we step into ever witnessing somebody, you know, just even like doing, so the work that I do, the intimate pelvic work, I do internal pelvic work. I do vulva mapping, which is a form of working with the pelvis and the vagina. So if there's any trauma that's in the tissues, if there's any numbness that's in the tissues, any chronic pain, we work or scar tissue, we work directly with the pelvis. So I know from when I first started my journey, just the thought of even derobing in front of a practitioner was so uncomfortable. So for me, the practice of witnessing really gave me the opportunity to feel into what was it like what does it feel like for me when I have to step into a moment of being witnessed. I've built enough capacity in my own journey with sexuality, in the work that I do. I know my boundaries. I know my yes and my no. I've got a real sense of autonomy in my body. And I knew stepping into this program and training that there was going to be things that I had to do that might be a bit outside the norm.
Yeah.
So there was a sense of okayness to step into that practice. And I think when you step into any type of training like what I'm doing, you have an interview, you kind of know what you're stepping into. And if it's a hard no, it's a hard no. But the witnessing element is exactly that. Like if even if I don't witness anyone masturbate within my private practice, just for a woman to lay on the bed and to even do like any form of genital work is so vulnerable. So it reminds me of that vulnerability. But I think for me, it's like it's contained within the scope of I'm a therapist. I can hold that space. It's a legitimate kind of practice that we do as a sexological body worker. There's like an ethics board, like a governing board. Okay. There's insurance that we have. And that's one of the reasons why I went down the route of training properly, because I know I don't know a lot about tantra spaces, and I'm just going to kind of say this not to generalize or like to put down a certain modality in any way, but in a lot of tantra spaces, like there isn't the proper certifications to be doing internal work.
No, there's not.
So for me, I put the due diligence in, I paid the money, I dedicated the time to really make sure that I got like the proper qualification to be able to do it. Because for me, I've experienced internal work and it was profound for me after I experienced sexual trauma. Okay. Like really was something that allowed me to reconnect with my body and my pelvis in a way that somatic work and the breath work I was doing and the body work that I was doing just didn't quite allow me to do.
Okay.
But I think this is part of the conversation, and I knew training in it. It's like I knew I was going to have these conversations where people are just like, I don't understand it. And it's like, that's part of it for me. I'm like, okay, like
that's the joy of doing it. To be able to communicate with people and say,
and to like get the work out there, and just like, when I speak about assignments, for example, I know people can be like, what the fuck is going on? But it's like, that's a snippet within a wider container of why we're
tell me about
training.
one of these assignments then that people say, what the fuck is going on?
I mean, I think that's probably the edgiest one that we've done so far. That's the only, in general terms, like assignments are more just like working with clients and volunteers. Just getting used to really starting to work with people's intimate areas.
That assignment,
yeah,
you'll lay there. I still don't fully understand why he has to be witnessing it if you're communicating afterwards. That's the bit I'm not getting.
Because we have to notice what comes up for us when we witness people in pleasure.
So you're both doing the assignment effectively?
So yeah, so he is also included in the assignment, but he's not touching. So one of the layers to the assignment is, because this is another big thing for people, right? Like what comes up for me when I think about somebody's pleasure.
Okay.
When I think about like, what do I notice? What do I feel? All of my conditioning will start to come up that I don't even know is there when I see somebody in pleasure. So it's really tapping into these like deeper layers of the self, because we need to be so aware of this if we're working in the sexuality space.
So it's going below the primal instinct.
It's going below the primal instinct,
yeah.
So like, honestly, it was like the least unsexual thing ever. It's just like what comes up for us. So for me, actually, it was so empowering, because it's the first time as a woman, and I'm someone who's experienced that violation multiple times within a relationship. My pleasure and my boundaries were never listened to. Like I never got to be in my own pleasure for me. Mm-hmm. So what I massively reflected on after that assignment was that the liberation and the safety to know that this is my pleasure within my body. And initially that conditioning come up of like, oh, what do I need it to look like? So fast, shame.
Yeah.
Like, don't be too much and don't do this. And like,
that's what I was going to say. While you're doing it, he's obviously watching. Are you not conscious of, it's going to sound daft, but I know a lot of people watching will do the same thing. What noises are you making? Do you sound right?
Yeah,
All
you
that
do,
sort of stuff. Yeah,
Initially, when I went into it, I was nervous as hell. I'm like, oh my God, this is bringing up... But again, these like layers that I didn't even know that were there, like shame, like I need it to look the way I think it needs to look, like don't be too much, or like,
is it not like performative in that respect?
It was initially. I noticed this air of performance, but I've, again, just coming into the body, taking some breaths, like really settling myself, like just reminding myself, like this is my experience, and I'm just going to go whatever comes up and feels good for me. And it took me about 10 minutes, and then all of that melted away, and then this wave of just like liberation come over me, and I was like, as a woman, my sexuality has never fucking been mine. From the moment I can remember, it was the gaze of the male, or other people watching you, or other expectations, or my no was still used as a yes. And for me in that moment, I was like, wow, I feel so safe within my own pleasure. He just became like a total, like it wasn't even about him.
Yeah.
And for me, I went through this whole process of like, wow, this is so liberating on such like a deep level for my body, because she's never felt this sense of reclamation before. Knowing that there's no expectation. And for a lot of women, when we think about pleasure or sex or arousal or being intimate, it's like, okay, now let's go to penetration. And a lot of women are missing the space to explore their own bodies.
100%.
So it was like, it's fucking profound, actually. Like, I went through like a whole process. He was like feeling some grief, and then at some point he was feeling like anger, like some stuff started to come up with like his experience, his relationship with his own sexuality. And even when we shared back, I was like, wow, he wasn't even... But it wasn't even about me for him either. He's really feeling into everything that comes up for him when he's just like witnessing a woman in pleasure, or just like witnessing somebody in pleasure, because also like our cultural kind of conditioning will also come into it. And at the end of it, we were both just like, wow, like so much richness in that moment, in that experience. So it's like, I understand from the outside, it's like, wow, she's just like masturbating on camera, like that's what is the benefit of that? But it's like the body's wisdom and things that we can't conceptualize or are outside our conscious awareness that can come up in moments like this. And yeah, it was really profound.
Would you say then that people that are masturbating on camera for work, for example, in the sex work industry, they're cutting all that intimacy, and they're providing almost like a bravado of intimacy for people that is only increasing that problem?
Yeah, and I would say also like it creates like a reward dopamine, doesn't it? Linked to like pleasure, or linked to like the vulva or whatever. Or
it's linked to
your
the satisfaction.
Body, the satisfaction. And that dopamine and reward system comes back in linked to like your pleasure and your like your sexuality. So I think, yeah, it's very different, and it's quite, you know, it's disembodied. Not all of them, because I know there's really conscious sex workers out there, but like if I was to generalize and think about like material that we see online, like yeah, it feels quite, well, very disembodied.
It's incredibly disembodied.
Porn is not real.
Porn is horrendous.
It's horrendous.
Porn is setting not only expectations, but it's also devaluing everything that is supposed to be intimate.
Yeah.
And when you say conscious sex workers, can you expand?
I can't, because I'm not in that world enough. But like, I just know through my course, I meet along the way people who are in the sex work field. Like Virgin Islands is a great example of seeing surrogate partners. Obviously, I'm not trained in this, so I don't know much about it. But you see on that program, I think her name is Kat or Kit, and she's a surrogate partner, and she is intimate with people. So full sex, and she's so embodied in it. Like she's doing felt sense, she's helping them notice what their patterns are, like what comes up for them, like trauma, teaching them how to be intimate, like, and to watch that on Virgin Islands, I think is a beautiful example of when sex work can be conscious.
I think that is a 1%.
Yeah.
I think that is a 1%.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the people that do sex work, they're not even conscious within themselves.
No.
They think it's empowering them when it's actually disembodying them.
Yeah, I think it's a real problem as we see like the rise of porn and just disembodied sexuality.
People have no idea who they are.
No.
Absolutely no idea who they are anymore. And because they don't know who they are, they project it outward.
I wonder if it's like creating this sense of persona as well. And I think when we think about intimacy and when we think about really being intimate with ourselves or another, it's like that authenticity in that. And I wondered if for a lot, I mean, I just think about, again, I don't have much knowledge on this because I'm not a sex worker, but when I think about that program by Olivia Atwood, where she does the one about sex workers, like a lot of them speak about it just being a persona, don't they? And just being like a kind of a job that they step into.
I think it creates an alternate reality for people. People can get addicted to anything that takes them out of themselves.
Yeah.
And that is what addiction is, anything that takes you out of yourself. And I think people get addicted to the ego that comes alongside consciously devaluing yourself. If you're deciding your rate and you're deciding your value and you're deciding you're going to be empowered and naked and all the rest of it, right? It feels like it's your decision, but it doesn't benefit you in any way other than monetarily. Because you're not gaining any sort of traction mentally to better yourself, to put yourself in a better place by getting naked and masturbating for somebody that's paying you 50 quid. You're not.
Have you, like, I'm curious, have you interviewed any sex workers about
Many.
it? What did they say? Because I've never kind of asked that question with them.
A lot of them say, no, we shouldn't have done this job. While they're in it, they say it's empowering them. Afterwards, they realise it's come from a place of trauma. It's come from a place of pain. It's come from a place of needing to gain some control over your life. A lot of them have come from backgrounds where maybe they've not even been poor, but they've not had full control over their decision making, over their money. A lot of them have come from backgrounds of psychological, emotional, or physical abuse.
Wow.
A lot of them don't even realise that until they end up in therapy. They thought it was normal for mum and dad to scream and shout. They thought it was normal for dads to just go out and get drunk. They thought it was completely normal for boys to just discard them because that's what boys do when you're young. They don't realise they've gone through the trauma they've gone through, and that where they're trying to find autonomy, what they're finding instead is a conscious level of devaluation of human being.
Well, it kind of links to that, like, hypersexuality, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, that notion of, like, we can swing, especially if there's been, like, sexual trauma, we can swing either being hypersexual or, you know, complete disconnection with
But
sexuality.
I also think that's ridiculous because who created that metric? Do you know what I mean? Who told us what the normal amount of sex to want to have is?
Probably some middle-aged white psychotherapist man somewhere.
There's actually some balding middle-aged man in an office. It's interesting when you talk to someone whose entire role is to help make sexuality healthy again.
Yeah.
Because it is so unhealthy at the minute.
Yeah, it is. And I think there's, you know, I appreciate it's quite unknown work, especially within the UK. And I know that, you know, this was like a whole process for me to really step into this work. You know, it was edgy as fuck. And like, I would step in a little bit and then I would like run away and then I'd step in and then I'd run away because like, I know I'm, as a practitioner in this space, I know it's massively misunderstood and I know there's so many kind of assumptions or interpretations of what this work is. But like, I know from being a psychotherapist and seeing the flavours of the sexuality work I've done already with clients, but also going on my own journey, like I know how profound this work is and how supportive it is and how needed it is.
But that's it. The textbook won't write the next book.
No.
You've got to have your own experience too.
And you just got to keep, I just got to keep showing up and like working to just get this work really known. And I think I am doing that. And there's, you know, not just me, there's a bunch of incredible practitioners within the UK doing it. But like I see it on my retreats, it's like women are fascinated by it. And then they'll be like, oh, I wouldn't do that. And I'm like, that's okay. And then by the end, they'll be like, so when are you going to start doing internal work? Because I'm actually quite curious about it. And I'm like, once you just get in a conversation about it and people see like past the initial like, ooh, that comes
like I
off.
did, like, are you just wanking on camera?
Yeah.
That's going to be everyone's reaction. That's why I thought to myself, do I say this? And I thought,
I'm
yeah,
glad you
because
did.
it's going to be everyone's reaction.
Yeah.
And instead of just nod and go, I'd rather be like, hold on, are you wanking on camera and paying to do it? Because then people go, yeah, I thought that. And then you've got that space to explain and say, look, it is, when you put it in black and white, a wank on a camera. But it's a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
Because you're not wanking on a camera in front of a pervert. You're wanking on a camera to someone that is assessing you not based on the wanking, but based on the thinking, you know, the actual thought processes behind it.
Yeah. And also it's not, you know, it's it's just one kind of assignment within a 10-month training program that we've been doing, and
it would be the scariest one for me. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, it's probably, you know, the most edgiest one throughout the whole training that we've done, but it's also not something that. So when I done my post on Instagram about it, it's like I share my experiences as I'm training, because people like to hear about my experience. But I always say to people, it's like, it doesn't mean this is what we're going to do when you come and do sexuality work or pelvic work with me.
How do your retreats work then?
So my retreats, I have a winter one called Melt. So under the Reverence Method, I have 2 signature retreats. Melt is a winter somatic retreat. We come together for 5 days, and it's usually a group of like 11, 12 women. And there's just like heaps of space for rest and just to like hunker down. And then we just have like embodiment practices over the days. Each day has a theme. So it's like, I think the first day in Melt is letting go. Then it's something else. And then something else. I can't remember. And then I've just this year on my first sexuality retreat, which is called Ember. So this is like, my retreats are quite a more therapeutic. I bring all of my training in. So quite deep, but like held. No catharsis, like really working towards people's like safe edges, but also just like heaps of rest and nourishment and like female connection. And then Ember over the 7 days, was working with just specifically sexuality. So the first 2 days were wheel of consent work. So autonomy and agency, finding your yes and your no. Again, words that we use within the space was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like if you've got somebody who's fawned their whole life, or her nervous system is stuck in a freeze response, she could come to a workshop with me and I'll be like, you've got autonomy. Her nervous system doesn't know what fucking autonomy feels like, or agency. So like in those first 2 days, I frame the whole retreat around agency and autonomy. So we do wheel of consent work. And then we go into like more embodied somatic days, like really bringing all of my skill set in, because I'm trained in breath work and MER body work and somatic work. So I just blend everything together to create like a really, beautiful retreat.
That sounds really nice.
It was fucking great. It was a phenomenal piece of work.
What was your favourite bit?
I think just like, all of it was just so wonderful. But I think seeing the difference from like when the girls walked in on the first day to the last day. And it was a real mix as well. You know, I had a client of mine there who has experienced childhood trauma. She's been working with me for a while. We've been like working through the layers, and she got to the point where we started doing sexuality work, and it was huge for her to step into that container.
Yeah, of course.
And just seeing the difference in them all at the end, I was just like, this is why I keep showing up. This is why I created the Reverence Method, and like why I keep showing up. Even
why is it called the Reverence Method?
So the Reverence Method was just something I created on a flight to Bali last year. It was based on my own experience. So after I was raped in 2024 and I was coming out of an abusive relationship, I started my kind of, journey, as they say. And I noticed it was like this in therapy, and then I'd go to breath work and I'd do this, and then I go over here and do sexuality work, and then I'd go here and do like menstrual cycle work.
Yeah, there was no one shot.
And I was like, it's not merging together. And also within therapeutic work, it's like sexuality, unless you're a sex therapist, and again, you've been taught how to bring it in, like you've been trained in a specific way of how to bring it in. Like therapists are afraid to bring sexuality into the room. And my own journey was like, I went into somatic therapy 2 days after I was raped, because I was already working like on and off ad hoc with a male therapist, Matt, doing somatic work. And he just caught me the day after and he was like, are you okay? And I was just in like complete shock. Thought I could go to work, and then shock hit me. And then he was like, come upstairs, like you don't seem okay. So anyway, I ended up telling him what happened. And then it must have been 2 days later we started working together. And I remember just being like completely numb. Like I still have my journal entry from that session. I was completely dissociated. I was numb. And in that session, I was like, I can feel his energy in this room. Like, and we just sat and we were present with it. And I didn't try to rush out of it. I just really intimately got to meet myself in that moment. And the next like 18 months to 2 years were just me trying to return home to my body after this violation and get myself out of an abusive dynamic, which I was like, you know, we know there's an addiction. It's a clusterfuck within itself. And I had to keep fucking showing up all the time. Even when I was running into the fucking wall, I go into therapy and I'd be like, Matt, I've done the thing again. And I'm running into that wall and I know it hurts, but I can't stop running into that wall. And then I got to this point where I felt so safe and just like at home in my body. And I just had this deep sense of like reverence. So reverence means to be in awe and respect.
Yeah.
And just deep sense of like respect for the body. And then anyway, I was on a flight last year and I was doing putting together a webinar for a program I was running on sexuality in mothers. And I was like, let me just put all my fucking modalities together and like show it so I know what it is. And as soon as I created it, I was like, oh my God, I've created something.
That's it, yeah.
That's it. And that was the birth of the reverence method. So the reverence method is everything in one space. So it's a journey. It centers around the female physiology and the female body, really helping women move through the pillars of reverence so they can really start to like return home to their body. So again, bringing the menstrual cycle into it, perimenopause, menopause, so they don't have to go to these separate spaces all of the time and think like, where do I go for this? So I just blended everything together.
Yeah, that's when the best shit happens.
That's
literally on par, apart from being on a flight to Bali, how I put together the anti-shame shift.
Did you?
Yeah. I was meant to be doing some work with someone else, and they were like, well, you just put everything you know into just a Word document for me, and I'll basically pick and choose what you bring to it. And at the time, I wasn't as, I want to say successful, but I don't like that word. I wasn't as known for what I do, if that makes sense. And this person was quite well known. And I was excited to work for them. So I didn't have the boundary to go, well, no, you're not going to pick and choose which bits of my work you actually want. Do you know what I mean? But when I put it all down into a Word document, I accidentally printed it.
Oh.
Right? Yeah. Tell me how you accidentally print something. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But I'd accidentally printed it. And when it came off double-sided, right? With half the stuff on one side and half the stuff on the other. Don't know how the fuck this happened. I've done something with a Word document, right? And as I was flipping over the page, like, oh, for fuck's sake, I realised it's quite a lot, you know. This could be a 2-part thing.
Love that.
You know, because my anti-shame shift works in 2 6-week sessions for that reason.
Okay.
Because half of it, yeah. Because half of it, I do seminars online, so group seminars based on particular things, but I don't have a retreat or anything like that, purely because I've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's hard to go
when they're
dedicate
older,
the time.
I might do something like that. But for now, it's all based online. A lot of my clients are neurodivergent as well. And sitting behind a computer works for them.
Yeah, that's good.
They can learn, they can engage, and they don't have to be present in a room with people they're going to have to fucking size up.
Yeah.
Basically. So, yeah, I was flipping this piece. Right, oh, it can only happen to you sort of thing. And then I realised, hey, shit, it's like a 2-part thing, this. So on the first part, I had a load of stuff and then something called the metamorphosis. I coined the metamorphosis because of a client called Layla, who said to me, I've realised what my metamorphosis is after doing it. Because it used to be called the character methodology. And then once you said that, I was like, this is a metamorphosis. I'm going to put it as metamorphosis on this, right? And that's how you end the part 6, right? So the first 6 weeks, you end it with a metamorphosis, which goes through every character you've ever been, their value rating, what role a character would play in a film, like would you be the hero, would you be all this sort of mad shit, like crazy questions that I've put down that I really find hit people quite hard when analysing it. And then the second half of the entire thing is merging those characters together. Let's find who the fuck you are. Stop killing those characters off, merge them together.
That's cool. It makes me think of parts work.
And then I thought, nah, what am I actually aiming for? My client list is quite strange compared to other people's, and I think it is just the way that I am as a person.
Yeah.
I just attract people that wouldn't go to a usual therapist, so to speak, which I'm sure you find within yourself as well. Yeah. So I get criminals.
Yeah.
People that can't stop cheating on their partners. I get people that have multiple personality disorders. I get people that have anxiety, depression, you know, the stuff that you go to a therapist for and they sort of go have these pills, right?
Yeah.
But then I also get people that are like, let's say, A-list celebrities who can't tell people what the fuck's going on because they don't want to lose their agenda or their performance, if that makes sense, right?
Work.
Yeah. So I get people from all over the spectrum But all those people have in common is they're hiding, right? They're hiding in plain sight. And that's why I called it the anti-shame shift. Because shame is the one thing that holds us all back above all else.
Yeah.
Right? Fear can hold you back, but you can face your fear. Right? Being depressed can hold you back, but you're not actually depressed because you're sad. You're depressed because you're ashamed of something you can't let go. Every single person on the planet. So we work directly with shame. And obviously I do some somatic work within it. Like I do the breath work. I've done tapping a few times, but it works with certain kinds of clients. The breath work, I've focused that modality more alongside the neurobiological modality. So activating vagus nerve, activating trigeminal nerve, shit like that. But one thing I've found is when you find a practitioner like yourself that can coexist with other practitioners and other modalities and can incorporate them, the results you get for clients is so much better. If you're not constantly expanding your understanding, if you're not constantly interested about what you're doing, you're in the wrong job. This shouldn't be the job for you.
Oh, don't you find like the more you learn, the fucking less you know?
Yes.
I literally spoke about that on Instagram this morning because I've just signed up to do Kimberly Ann Johnson's like 4-week like female nervous system course, and I was like, oh my God, like it's outrageous the amount of training, but it's like the more I learn the less I know, and then I'm like, well, I feel like I need to know this if I'm holding women's bodies.
So at the moment I have 56 accreditations in different things. I'm ridiculous, I know. It
That's
really is a
crazy.
hyperfixation, right? But I'll do 4 at once.
Wow.
Like, and constantly bulk them up. And every time I do another one, I go, what the fuck? Because it'll start making me question another one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't win, can you?
No.
Because you go and do, so I recently did another cognitive behavioural therapy course, right? Because I don't like cognitive behavioural therapy and I want to like it, right? I want to like it. I understand how it works for neurotypical brains. I do not and cannot get behind it working effectively enough for non-atypical brains.
Are you neurodiverse?
Yes.
Does it work for you?
No.
No.
Right? No, it doesn't.
So that's your passion driving you?
So I'm like, but I want to like it. Because I've seen how it has worked.
Yeah.
Right? And I know it can work. But the more I learn about it, the more I think it doesn't work. Right?
Yeah.
So I have to keep learning about it. So I'm doing another course at the minute, right? And it's 12 weeks. And it's called Advanced Cognitive Behavioural Therapy. And I'm hoping it advances me further.
I mean, I would hope that they're talking about like neurodiversity within that.
No, they are.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense.
Oh.
And when you say to them, but that doesn't make sense. Because, for example, right, some of them are talking about when you go through cognitive behavioural therapy, you're able to express what is on the inside out. And I said, but most neurodivergent people are masking and they will not be expressive. Well, no, you can tell by their body language. I said, well, that's not cognitive behavioural therapy then, is it?
No, that's more like, that's going into the realms of like somatic.
Yes.
It's like bioenergetics.
Yes.
Looking at like the cues in people's body,
Yes.
like how to read a body,
Right.
which is
You're
outside
looking-
the realm of...
Yeah, you're going more towards NLP.
Yeah.
Right? But when I said that to him, he told me I didn't understand. So I said, well, what's your biggest course then? He said, my advanced cognitive behavioural therapy course will help you understand. I said, good, I'm going to do it. Then I signed up.
He's like, that fuck. She's...
Yeah, right? And then if by the end of that, I still do not understand what you mean, I'm going to ask you that question again. And the more offended you get by me asking questions that I know I need to ask, because if I don't ask them, who's going to advocate for the people that aren't asking them?
I think it's good to challenge, like, to challenge and to always keep that, like, flavour of critical thinking as we learn. But also, like, I always say that to clients, with, you know, don't, in my work all of the time, I like de-pedestal myself.
Yeah.
It's so important. I'm
Yeah,
like,
don't just ask me.
don't
look
just
around.
take my experience as gospel. Like, if you've heard something or you know from your experience that what I'm saying doesn't quite resonate, like, tell me. Because actually I learn from
Have the
that.
conversation.
Yeah, to have the conversation. But I think sometimes, maybe practitioners aren't as open to that.
No, they're not.
No,
they're not. Because it's, listen to me, I am correct. Look at my textbook, isn't it shiny?
Yeah.
Right? And
And
it's
my
like,
credentials.
yeah, look at my credentials, right? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking, but you're looking down on mine, which is confusing.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a 56-year-old man the other week, right? Because I was trying to sign one of my clients up with him. Truth be told, I work mostly with women like yourself, right? But I do work with men. And one of the men that I was working with was having, it's not called psychotherapy because he calls it some random name that doesn't make sense, right? But I can't say what he's calling it because it'll make it very obvious as to who this person's talking about.
Okay.
Right, I'll show you him afterwards.
Okay.
And he'd been working with my client, and he'd basically been working. Oh, fuck it, right? So he was working to increase my client's masculinity,
Okay.
right? My client was a sexual abuse victim as a man, which already on its own is something people don't talk about.
No.
Right? It's very hush-hush, right?
Yeah.
So he'd gone to a male practitioner who had 2 degrees, something else, trauma-informed all over his profile, right? And this guy said to him, well, this has basically been happening because you've been demasculated by the women in your life. So you put on a feminine energy, and that's what gave this man the impression that he could take you in a feminine way.
No, he never.
Yes, he did.
No,
right?
he never.
Yes, he did. So I get in touch with him because this client's still working with him, but comes to me because he said, I need to understand, I need to calm down, I'm having panic attacks. I said, well, why are you having panic attacks in his first consultation, right? So he explains what this guy's done, and I'm like, well, it's clear to me why you're having panic attacks. Because now you believe this is your fault. Yeah. Right? So that's why you're having panic attacks. Your body is quite literally fighting against itself. All right, so we go through and we do his consultation, sign him up, and then I said to him, I'm really sorry, and this is quite unprofessional for me to ask, but can I speak to the guy you've been working with? He said, yeah, you can if you want. Like, you won't have a problem with that. He's a sound guy. I'm thinking, I bet he's not when he's questioned, right? So I get him on Instagram and I message him and I'm like, hi, can I ask you a quick question about the work you're doing with one of my clients? Because, I'm going to be working with him too and I want to understand where you're at. Do you know what I mean? And he goes, yeah, no problem, absolutely no problem. I'll call you. So I'm like, yeah, chill. So I get him on the phone and I'm like, all right, mate, can I just ask you about this thing quickly where you've said to my client, the reason he's been sexually assaulted is because he's too far in his feminine energy? Well, let me explain it to you in terms of Freud, and I need to explain it in terms of Jungian archetypes. And I said, no, I just want you to explain it to me human to human. Because I need to understand where your mindset is, because there's not one Jungian archetype that says if you're a female, you're more likely to get raped.
No. And also, like, Freud, we know that he just made, like, women's experiences into, what was it called? Like, the... I know
what you mean.
Yeah.
But, like, Freud's experience is not...
It's not, like, relevant.
We shouldn't really take that on board now in 2026.
They just silenced
Freud
and
was
shamed.
the Andrew Tate.
A good reference point to work with. Also, this guy, like clients don't understand all of that,
No,
it's
but he'd explained it to him, obviously. He'd give him all that, I call it marshmallow fluff, right? Where they just fluff everything the fuck up so it feels like they know what they're saying. Yeah. And they don't. They've just said a load of stuff that doesn't really reference you whatsoever and it isn't relevant, but now you think it is because some person that said PhD told you, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so in the end, I end up arguing with him. Because I said, you've made my client worse. I don't give a fuck what P, H or D is at the end of your name. You've done enough work to know that you're going to do some damage with what you're doing. The more educated you are, the more you should be aware of yourself as well. If you let your credentials overtake your credibility, there's something wrong.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Because credentials and credibility are different, right? Yeah. Go and get a PhD one day doesn't mean you ain't going to smack someone in the mouth the next. You know what I'm saying, right? You're book smart, but are you street smart? Are you human smart? He said to me, come back when you have a PhD and you understand to the extent I do. I said, come back when you're a woman, part of the statistic of people that get raped and get sexually assaulted, and then come back when you understand how offensive it is that you've told this man the reason he got sexually assaulted is because you're more like these women.
Yeah, that's like double. Wow, now that you've said that, I'm like, shit, that's like double layered. Like, you know what I mean? Bringing in the feminine is
If you're more feminine, you're more likely to get raped. So you're telling me a little girl is totally feminine, that's why she gets raped, are you?
So bad.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I think, the work that you're doing with people's genitals is actually massively important. Because there are practitioners like that guy hanging around saying to people, feminine, masculine, feminine, masculine. There's no in between. For some of these people, it's black and white. And I don't mean that in gender studies. Some people will see that and go, well, there is only feminine, there is only masculine. They're the genders, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's not sexuality.
No, that's not. And I think it's just like the culture of shaming and victim blaming is still so ingrained. And like our body holds on to that. Like shame is like entrenched in the body of survivors who've experienced sexual
100%.
abuse, and it's familiar, and it's like you said before, like one of the biggest blocks to reporting or being intimate with people or even being present in our own lives. It's like and there's like the element of sexual abuse, but like honestly for me, one of the hardest things was the shame I felt around the emotional abuse, like the abusive relationship I was in. It's like that was like a whole other layer of just like shame, because it's like when you like start to come out of it, people are like, well, why have you not left? Like, what are you doing? Or why are you going back? Or why are you putting up with it? And you internalize all of these stories, and then you think like, somehow I'm responsible for what's going on, or I'm weak because I can't walk away, or I'm weak because I keep going back. And it just ingrains this like shame so deep within our bodies and our psyches. And it's like, yeah, that takes real compassion and presence from practitioners to be
100%.
able to unravel, because you have to hand them your shame.
Yeah.
So like with Matt, like so many times in sessions, I had to be like, here's my shame, and I'm not going to run away from it, and I'm not going to dissociate, and I just need you to like meet me in my shame. And that's for when I work with a lot of women, it's like, we're just present with shame, because people don't get that.
No, they don't.
It's like, it's so important. We don't need to intellectualize it. Like, often what people need is just someone to meet them and be like, I get it, and it's okay. And like, I can't do anything to fix it, and I'm not going to try and fix it, but I can just be present with you as you feel
can
this.
sit in the shame and not choke on it.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Because it's a part of you as much as your happiness, as much as your sadness, as much as your hunger.
Yeah.
It's a chemical reaction, the same as everything else.
And we're not going to, this is what I always say to people as well, is like, we're not going to get rid of shame. Like, shame, like you've just said, is a feeling and an emotion, but it's like, how do we build more capacity to be with our shame? And then also a big part of my work is like, the other thing that's missing is like aliveness in your body. Like, how, as much as we want to process this traumatic material and like help you with what you've been through, it's like a big part of it for people who've experienced sexual abuse, and especially childhood sexual abuse, is feeling the aliveness in their body again. It's like feeling the juiciness of the pelvis, feeling the energy within the pelvis, feeling the like the vitality that the body has, because for so many people that can be scary. It's like, I've completely, no, I'm going to cut that off because that is unsafe for me to feel that. So it's like this two-pronged approach that I just think balances the shame, and then we bring in the aliveness, and it's just like
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Well, that's it, innit? People go, I feel dead inside.
People are like...
Well, they are dead inside.
Yeah.
You're just existing.
There's a book, I don't know if you've heard of it, Women Who Run with the Wolves. It's a book I use a lot in my work, and it was like amazing for my own journey. And she tells tales about like reclamation of the wild woman.
Yeah.
And one of the tales, she speaks about the zombie woman, and how along the way women just like fragment parts of themselves into the dead zone.
This is so similar to my metamorphosis, you know.
Yeah, and she just like we just lose pieces of our psyche and our soul along the way, and we just end up becoming like this walking zombie, and we become dried out, and we become like decrepit, and we become like, she uses this whole story to like depict how it is in the body when we're not alive. And she speaks about like this reclamation of these parts that we have to find along the way.
Yeah.
It's like, we can't be alive until we retrieve the parts that we've put in the dead zone. And like, a lot of that is painful stuff as well, but it's like, we build capacity to be able to be with that. That it's not about nervous system regulation, it's about nervous system capacity, which again, I see a lot on social media. It's like, you know, regulate your way to calm. You want to be regulated. Do you up-regulate? Do you down-regulate? And I'm like, it's not about that. It's about just like, how do you build capacity within your body to be with the whole experience of being human? Because that actually is what is going to help you move through life. You can't experience
being human without being regulated, though.
Yeah, but it's like, I think the narrative that I see on a lot of like nervous system content is like, if you feel angry, regulate. If you feel this, regulate.
Well, no, regulation should be done before those emotions.
Yeah, everyone in everyone's space.
They're not educated. That's the problem. They just see words on TikTok, regurgitate it on Instagram, regurgitate it on Facebook. They don't have a clue what they're on about.
So it's like, we want to, so yeah, like what you've just said, like building capacity and like working with that, with the nervous system to be able to hold anger so you don't fly out your window of tolerance and, I don't know, like fucking see red. So it's like, we are working with the nervous system, but to build more regulation and capacity. But it's like, I see people come to me, it's like, I just want to regulate my way out of anger. And it's like, no, you need to feel the anger within your nervous system capacity, because that is what is going to help your overall health within your body. It's like, if you regulate your way out of anger or regulate your way away from grief, it's like, it's still there. It's just, it becomes another form of suppression and repression.
So I have every client regulate, but they're not regulating away from emotion. They're regulating before the emotion comes. They can feel the emotion properly.
So that's just like resourcing, isn't it? What we're
doing.
It is
effectively. So I have a certain nervous system reset or regulation for each person, and it's individualized person to person, but depending on what they need. Sometimes I'll use thermos, sometimes I'll use the vagus nerve, sometimes we'll go for the trigeminal nerve, sometimes it'll be work more towards the pelvis, but not in the capacity that you do it. If people, for example, they come to me with postnatal depression, we'll breathe into the pelvis and the lower womb and all the rest of it.
Nice.
It's all individualized person to person. But what people tend to do is they regulate when they're angry. This isn't about fixing the problem when you're angry. It's about reducing the likelihood to get to the level of anger that is unsafe.
Yeah. So bringing it back into capacity.
Yeah. So they'll regulate in the morning. They'll have little regulations that they can do throughout the day.
Nice.
They'll have a screensaver for their phone with what I call nervous system bingo, with things that I know will work for them nice and quickly with that.
Nice.
They'll have regulations to stick on their fridge and to stick on their mirror. And I want them regularly doing it all day, every day. Because it's not about everything being perfect. It's finding what's sustainable.
Yeah.
Not every client will do every single systematic regulation, but they'll start to build up what is sustainable for them.
Yeah, like a toolkit.
Yeah, like to understand what's done. But I don't believe you can gain full capacity without regulating.
So for me, I'm doing regulation within sessions. Like I'm resourcing, I'm doing, you know, like you're doing when an emotion comes in, titrating and pendulating in and out of it. So just like slowly shifting between like resource and like the experience. I think more what I'm alluding to is I have clients that will come to me and be like, I saw this on TikTok, or like I was feeling angry and like like this charge started to come into my body, and then like I just felt what do I do to calm down? And I'm like, did it feel like it was too much for you to sit with? No. And it's like, okay, well, can you stay with that and also simultaneously just like feel your pelvis on the bed, or like feel your spine? So similar to what you're doing, so feel your spine. So it's like we do want to regulate and build capacity, but I think we've got to the point on social media now where it's just like nervous system regulation has become like a thing, and sometimes it can be counterproductive for people who have a lot under the surface. I'm thinking about women that I work with in general who have like, you know, no capacity for anger, let's say.
Right, got you.
But this is the thing about our work, right? Like it's body to body, it's experience to experience, it's person to person. People are coming to see me, you know, same as you, like we're doing work within session. So like I wouldn't, it's not like someone's just messaging me and I'm like, yeah, go and sit with your anger. It's like there's a relationship and I'm aware of what's going on for that person.
One-to-one, you know who that person is.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree social media is very difficult at the minute.
Yeah, it's
everybody
tricky.
knows everything about everything because they've seen another video about everything. But what you have to remember is they also can't hold people for a long period of time. It is usually a 3-minute video.
Yeah.
So when they're trying to help someone to regulate out of anger or regulate out of depression or regulate out of anxiety, they've got 3 minutes to do it.
Yeah, we do.
Right? And what you're trying to do is gauge someone's attention long enough for them to go, oh, that worked.
Yeah.
What else can I do?
Yeah.
I think there's not a platform out there yet on social media that long form helpful techniques would actually bang on, because people don't want long form helpful techniques. They want immediate, okay, scroll now I can feel better, scroll and then I can feel better. That's what people want. So I think on social media, yeah, we have a rise in, I call them boy wonders, right? We do. We've got a rise in boy wonders.
What's that?
A person that knows fucking everything. And 11 Aretha.
Great.
Right? Yeah. They've done 1 6-week course.
Yeah.
And now they know everything.
Yeah.
Right? And they're going to tell the world everything. They're going to fuck up all the clients. But luckily, for every boy wonder, we've got a Batman.
Yeah,
right? That knows Gotham very well.
What a great analogy.
Yeah, well, thank you, mate. Right? Nice one. But and I think I get a lot of clients that come to me and they go, oh, well, I went to this person. I'll go and look at it and I think, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah. And I know straight away what they've been doing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I didn't mean if I got offensive at any point, please don't ever be offended by me. I like a deliberation or a debate, but I don't ever mean to shit down your work because I know you're very good at what you do. When people say, oh, no, we've just got to make capacity, that is a phrase I hear so often, right?
Do you?
Yeah. I think that's why it was like that. No, we have to regulate.
Wow, I never see that.
Yeah, maybe my algorithm's different, yeah.
Yeah.
I see a lot of, we have to gain capacity. We have to make capacity. Hold space for your emotion. But I see it a lot of the time from people that do not have a fucking clue what they're going on about.
Oh, wow,
right?
okay.
Because they're just saying to people, if you have depression, sit with it.
Right? I mean, that's not...
You know what I mean? And that's why then I was like, no, we have to regulate, because I thought, I can't put this episode out saying that without having to specify, no, we have to regulate. We can't just sit with that emotion. Sitting with something without having movement is just freeze.
Yeah, I was going to say that before. So, like, if I was working with someone with, like, a depression, like a decompression within the body, you know, that's what I was thinking in my head is, like, I'd probably do some upregulating work with them.
Yeah.
whereas if someone's really anxious, I do like down regulating work with them. But like I've also got like a nervous system library, and I interestingly, like one of my first offers I put out as a somatic psychotherapist was like it was called Restore and Reconnect, and it was like a 12-week nervous system program, and it was just all about helping people resource and build capacity within their nervous systems, but then giving them like the R&R toolkit, like the videos that you do, like the quick snippet things. And I think like that actually, this conversation has been a great reminder for me of like bring that back in, because I think I've moved to like such advancement with my stuff, like I forget about
the basics,
the snippet. And it's like for me, when I'm working with clients, I'm fucking resourcing like, or I'm building regular, like so innate, like the same way you will be, right, in sessions, like we're just doing it. It's not like a thing that I sit down and do with clients. I'll be like, right, I'll explain it, and then they go away and do things at home. But I'm like, this conversation is actually being inspiring for me, because I'm like, yeah, actually, like bring shit like that back onto your Instagram, Lydia, because in 2014, like people love that shit. Like they found it so helpful and so supportive. And I think for me, I've probably just like the past 6-ish months just got a bit like, it must just be my algorithm, but like just exacerbated. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Where the amount of like, do this, do that, do this, do that. I'm like, wow, I feel overwhelmed. With,
the market's
like,
saturated,
content.
but it's saturated with sausages, mate.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's saturated with sausages.
So if you know what you're doing, get the video out there.
Yeah, mate, you've inspired me. I'm going to go back to like do this for your nervous system.
Just bring the fucking basics back, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because if you have all the intelligence and you have the physical regulation alongside it, people first need the knowledge of what's going on in the body. Yeah. Right? But then they need how to stop it. And then they need the capacity to continue that.
Yeah.
Right? Because if your car's on fire, no one goes, sit with the fire.
No.
Feel where it came from, right? No. Put the fucking fire out. And once we're out the car and we feel safer and we know next time the car's on fire exactly what to do, now we'll sit with it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sick of practitioners saying, sit with it, feel it, do this. No, I felt it for long enough. If I can teach me how to get rid of it and then teach me why it came, and next time it comes, I'll feel brave enough to sit with it.
Yeah.
Because if you have fear coming in, or you have depression or anxiety, or you have that reminder of being so worthless coming in and it's sitting in your body, last thing you want to do is sit with it.
No. That's like way too intense to just tell people to sit with those feelings.
That's it, but that's what they're doing. They're saying just sit with it. That's what I'm saying.
Like
that's why I'm so big on it, and I'm so passionate about it, because I've been that person sat opposite the psychotherapist.
Yeah.
When they've gone sit with it. And I'm thinking, I've been sat with it. That's why I'm sat here.
Yeah, and you just like, if you're depressed or, you know, whatever it might be, it's like you'll just end up like low-key leaving your body or something.
Yes,
like
then you go into dissociation.
Yeah, it's just like...
That's what I'm saying. We have to teach them to regulate it.
Yeah.
Get the regulating out, because then once you're regulated, you feel safe enough. Your brain will start to expand. You know, the neuroplasticity, you'll move shit back, you'll move shit forwards, shit will get thrown out.
Yeah.
When your body feels safe, it will slowly but surely release the stuff that it was holding there in case it ever happened again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So once it realises you're in a different mindset, you've got a different chemical balance, all this sort of stuff, it will start to let go of the shit that it's been holding, which will then reduce the heaviness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then once you feel lighter, you can sit with it now. Not got a brick on your leg. I mean, we've got to stop telling people to just stay at the bottom of the ocean. Feel the ocean, the drowning.
Yeah, they're drowning. That's what I say to people when they ever come to trauma therapy with me. It's like they think I'm going to like kick, or like their perception in their mind is like we kick them off the boat into the ocean. And I use the analogy of like we're on the shore, and then let's say the actual traumatic event is like way over there, and we just like paddle in and then we come out, and then we paddle in a little bit further and we come out. And it's like you just build that kind of tolerance to be able to go over there. And then
that's the neuroplasticity.
Yeah. And then I always say to people, like, then we'll be over there at the actual trauma, and you'll go, oh, we're here. And that doesn't mean it won't be hard to sit with or like process or bring into space. But like we've got used to the water and we've had the ability to come back to the shore. Like you can't just kick someone off a boat into the ocean.
No.
And tell them to swim. What was kind of like the thing that supported you?
Jesus Christ, man.
Wow.
The thing that supported me most was Jesus Christ. Swear to you. Right? I didn't turn to any sort of religion. I just believe in Jesus. And I believe in Jesus because I believe I met the devil.
Okay.
In numerous capacities. I'll tell you another day.
Wow.
But if that shit's real, this shit's real. Put it that way.
Yeah, I hear people speak about that actually. Like to believe in one kind of opens your perception to believe in the other.
I didn't believe in either.
No, but I've heard that from, I don't know if I was reading something maybe on, when I met somebody who had experienced like satanic childhood stuff, just like awful. And I think it might have been her who said to believe in like that was like the devil, which then made me believe that there has to be something else out there.
I tried to disprove Jesus.
Did you?
Yeah, extensively. And couldn't. On a baseline, you can think you can. When you go into it, like even historical records, right? Archaeology, shit like that. It proves time and time again the existence of him, which is irritating for people that don't want to believe it. Because I didn't want to believe it. I thought, I'm not listening to the words of one man I've never met from millions of years ago. You can get fucked. And the more I looked into it to try and disprove it, and I was doing it alongside a mate as well, who now is, she's fully fledged, like, and she was one of the biggest witches on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was really, really well known for what she did. She had a group called the Phoenix Girls.
Wow.
It was really, really well known. And overnight, she dropped everything. The minute she realised he was real, the revelation, the guilt, the shame, and she's had to work through a lot of that shame now over the last 2 years. But what we don't realise is as practitioners, it's not just our job to make people feel better, it's our job to give them their agency back. Yeah. Their ability for choice and change and communication, and their ability to not communicate if they don't want to as well. And what I got from a lot of the people that I reached out to was a lack of choice, a lack of agency, a lack of communication. It was my way or the highway. And I actually reached out to a very well-known psychotherapist who stole my money and blocked me. No. Yeah. I had 300 quid left in my bank. Swear to you, I was a single mother with 300 quid left in my bank, just come out of an abusive relationship. I messaged this person, begged her for help, sent 300 quid to her bank account. She told me I couldn't come for it. She accused me of trying to steal her business. I didn't even have a business at that point, mate. Truth be told, at that point in my life, I only made money from reading tarot cards.
Wow, you've got some stories.
Yeah. And she took my money and fucked off. Yeah, swear to you. And she still runs UMT therapy now. And every time I see it come up, because I messaged her years later and said to her, just so you know, what you did to me was fucking disgusting. Not only on a professional level, but woman to woman. And one day I will tell people who you are, and I will show all the receipts for what you've done. She blocked me. Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's why, as a professional now, I think you've got to really not just hold space for people, but you've really got to give a fuck about what you're doing.
Yeah, you do.
You've got to live and breathe it.
Yeah, and you've got to learn to be adaptive as well. It's like, I think, you know, like, not, especially in my work, not just like, think in any work, but like not just one size fits all, because every single like body is different. So like I've had to learn how to be so adaptable as a practitioner and just like go in with an open mind, and sometimes just really acknowledge the I don't knows, but I'm just like, I don't know, but like let's just figure it out together. You know, like I worked with a woman who was paralyzed from the chest down, and she wanted to do somatic work and breath work, and I was like, okay. And we had to find ways that supported her to start to connect to her body, even though she couldn't feel her body, and she had this huge extensive.
Did you manage to do it?
Yeah.
God, girl.
Yeah, it was fucking unbelievable.
I bet that was such a moment for you as well.
It was a moment, but I remember just like in some sessions being like, you know, just that humbling as a practitioner of just like, let me just learn off the body and the woman and the experience that's in front of me, because I don't know best. I have my toolkit, my knowledge, I've done my training, but let me just like really be present with you and see what I can learn. And we ended up using like a ball, like a fascia ball, and doing like fascia work within her back to really just like open the body. And then she done some like emotional processing and some breath work, and it was profound. It was humbling, but for me as a practitioner, it was profound.
You're always the student, though. That's the thing, isn't it?
Always the student. And it taught me like never copy and paste. I knew that anyway, but like, you know,
ChatGPT therapists.
No, working with people in their 60s who've got fibromyalgia, and I'm just like, okay, can't copy and paste. People really have to care about trauma-led facilitation, because you don't come out with a set. We didn't want to do just another qualification or certification. So it's like CPD hours, and you are specifically trained as a space holder to better understand trauma in your spaces, because there's so many deep practices now and practitioners don't know how to hold it. And that's, you know, if you've not been trained on it, it's like fair. So it's like we really de-shame it, but like what we want to do is like train practitioners. But because people don't come out with a qualification, it's not translating as easy.
Because there's no benefit for them to show shiny, look, I've got a...
I think we've just become so used to like doing something and then coming out with a qualification. You know, we call it like, we related it to fast fashion. We call it fast wellness. And what we really want to do is like, yeah, so we're creating slow wellness, like real pioneers. So like you have your capsule wardrobe, which is like your capsule techniques and modalities. And you just learn to get really good at that. So
and then expand.
Yeah, and then
so
expand.
Clever.
So,
I might come to Salumi, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, but you can never know. You can never know enough.
Yeah, true.
You can never know, and I love learning.
Yeah, me too.
I think the more you learn from people, I like learning when I know absolutely nothing about it and it seems weird. That's why I wanted you on.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is batty. I need to know more about it. And now I know about it, I'll be telling people.
Yeah.
Because now it's not batty.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Now you can see, okay, this makes a lot of fucking sense.
Yeah.
It's like when I had a sex worker on about 10 weeks ago, right, who was genuinely a dominatrix.
Cool.
Right? And I thought, this is batty.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I was thinking, you're a good girl, you.
It's good
Dealing
work.
with some shit in a wild way.
Yeah.
But you're a good girl, because I think no one is inherently bad. Well, the exception of pedos.
Yeah.
Right? But you could put me in front of a mass murderer, right?
Yeah.
And I'd probably still find something beautiful about that person.
Yeah.
Right? Even if their actions don't speak for them.
Mm.
And I love fucking learning from people that you can't understand on a face value.
Yeah.
Because we're all mad.
Yeah, we're all mad. And just like, you know, doing the work in different ways. And I said to you on the phone, didn't I? Like, I respect you for getting people on who can have different conversations, because it's like a lot of women don't know about pelvic. Like, the only kind of awareness that women have of pelvic work is if they go to a physiotherapist and it's medicalized, or it's an assessment. And actually there's this like different form of pelvic work that women can do that's extremely beneficial. And I'm not trained as a physiotherapist, but I am doing and will continue to do a lot of advanced training within the pelvis region to be able to do internal work. But like, women don't know about that. Women don't know that after they give birth and are scarred and have tears in their perineum, that they can do scar work to support the health of their pelvis, their vagina, their overall body. It's like they don't know about this stuff because women's bodies are not included in medicine or research. Becoming more now. Yeah. But we're still not. Everything's been wiped out.
Yeah, we're told go and go to PT, trim that belly up.
Yeah. Or just do your Kegels and then you'll be fine. And it's like, well, actually that can cause chronic tension for women in their pelvic floor if they just squeeze up all the time. Like, it can have an adverse effect. It can, you know, women with prolapses, with deep shame, they're like, I don't know where to go with this. And I think the beauty of the work that I do is I'm going to do all of this physical stuff, but I'm also a psychotherapist, so I can hold the emotional stuff for women. So like, I'm so excited because as far as I can tell, there's not many practitioners doing it the way that I want to do it.
No, it's been fucking brilliant to have you on today, mate. And thanks for the debate as well.
Yeah.
Some people, they cringe up in a space and they can't articulate in that way. And I'm really glad that we could have that back and forward. Let's understand. Let's get it out. I think that's going to be really impactful for people. So I do really genuinely thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that in, because I think, you know, a lot of people would have listened to that and thought the same and then maybe clicked off the podcast episode. But hopefully now we've give women more understanding of the work that they can do and be supported, because I know that it's needed.
100%. If anybody would like to work with a somatic sexologist that really knows their shit, please do get in touch. All of the links to her profile will be underneath this video, or on Spotify you can find them linked in the bio. Alternatively, if you're watching this as a mini clip on YouTube, Facebook or Instagram, please do head to my profile where she will be tagged in all of the videos. Anything you want to finish up by saying?
No, just thanks, girl. It's been great.
It's all right.
It's been gas.
Been gas.
Been gas.
Been gas. Right, good night, God bless. Bye, everyone.